All right, very cool. Well, I guess welcome everybody for one of our weekly Zoom calls that we're going to do. In by 6, out by 7. Not going to hold anyone a real long time. Not going to be a big sales pitch. Going to be just a lot of networking and talking and seeing what a lot of us are doing right now in this crazy time we're dealing with. But let's get started here. If we find Patrice, everyone keeps bouncing around as people come in. They're all moving around like it's the Hollywood Squares or something. But we're going to Patrice to tell us a little bit how all this cool technology works, and then go on to Tony and let him introduce the speaker, and then I'll yuck it up for a while.
All right, sounds good. Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another web meeting. Another week with more information and help to keep you empowered during this time. All right, so as most of you are familiar with, if you have any questions during the meeting, all you will need to do is click that lovely chat icon, which is at the bottom of your window. So if you hover your mouse at the very bottom of your window, you'll see some options populate. You want to click on chat, then just start typing. Your question or your feedback will be responded to in our Q&A session or as we go along through the actual meeting. Now, if you have a situation or issue that you need to have addressed by the RIA team, don't forget to call the hotline. It is area 440-485-3442. Okay, so that's 440-485-3442. So if you have any situations that you need some help with getting through, anything, just please feel free to call the hotline and get your questions answered. All right, and also as we go along through the meeting, if you find that you are unmuted, if you can please mute yourself, and then that way it will kind of prevent any background noise from being presented during the meeting. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on over to Tony. Everyone enjoy the meeting.
Thanks, Patrice.
Welcome.
So before I turn it over to Rob and introduce our speaker tonight, it's funny because when he sent me over the information to post in the chat box about the accountability challenge, I had this tip that I was going to share with you guys about accountability itself. So I coach small business owners, and I've been doing it for quite a long time. And one of the areas that I coach on is accountability. And it's hitting me now that I'm quarantined with my 3-year-old granddaughter that it's hard to be productive right now. And it really comes down to there's no one holding me accountable to what I need to get done. And it's not that anyone needs a coach. You can hold yourselves accountable to something. I'm so glad that Rob is going to go into this with this accountability challenge later. But I just wanted to give you guys a couple tips. I had a couple clients that actually fired me because they had mastered the art of time blocking. And Rob and I attended a seminar, I don't know how many years ago that was. And there was a guy that spoke. He was a Stephen Covey trainer, and he taught about time blocking. And time blocking is really nothing more than it's taking a block of time to schedule with yourself through the week. So today's Tuesday. So maybe you schedule an appointment with yourself on Thursday afternoon from 1 till 2:30 or 1 to 3 o'clock, and to set up what your plan looks like. And so you schedule a meeting with yourself to start putting in place an action plan so you can accomplish the things that you need to do to become more successful. So just a tip. Figured I'd share that with you guys. And yeah, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rob. Before I give it to Rob, though, I got to tell you, he's the reason that I got involved in real estate. So this is going to be a treat for you. I always want to tear it up on you, Rob. I always want to pick on you because it's just a relationship that you and I have. But in all sincerity, guys, if you're watching him and you're learning about wholesaling, you're watching one of the masters in the area, because he's been my mentor since I started in real estate about 3.5 years ago. And I wish I could stay locked in for the whole hour, but with the 3-year-old running around, I'll be here just going to be scattered around. Stay tuned and be ready to write quickly, because Rob's a fast talker, but he's going to give you a lot of really good nuggets. So that said, I'm going to turn it over to Rob Gillespie, Rob the house guy, on wholesaling from home in these times. Rob.
Wholesaling from home. Hey, thanks, Tony. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think if we ever had a public conversation like Tony and I have on a daily basis, texting back and forth, it'd probably be offensive to most people, because all we do is rip on each other nonstop. So obviously we've all been locked down, and hopefully out of everybody here, you guys are all still doing some stuff. I'm hoping that you guys didn't like just give up on life and give up on wholesaling and putting deals together because you're all locked in the house. I want to hear from a couple people out there. If you're still doing stuff actively from your house and you're not one of the people that are out there still going all over the place, not that there's anything wrong with that. I just personally am choosing to stay home right now. Who is actually still buying, selling, and closing deals from their house right now? Is there anybody you can do a show of hands, just unmute yourself and jump in? Nobody? Am I the last? Am I the only?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Reinhardt, what are you doing? Tell us about what are you doing right now to do deals from home?
Well, we just got a deal, a place in Akron actually, where we have a portfolio of rentals, and we were made aware of.
I got the gist of it. I mean, I want to complain about everything.
And,
No. They love the house. They love the
Let me
carpet.
mute all.
Bathrooms. They love the showers. They love
Can we mute?
all the finishes. They love.
Mute
Didn't like
everyone.
is they need a fenced yard because they have
Yeah.
2 very big dogs.
Yeah.
They wanted a patio. She said they were frustrated that you put the dry.
All right, who's not muted?
I'm not muted.
You're good. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I just keep my eyes open. We actually had done a marketing campaign about a year ago. And we didn't get a lot of response, but it's interesting. Out-of-state owners are now calling us that received a letter from us as long as a year ago. And so we are working on making some offers there. And we got one offer. We made one offer on a property, and we're closing the end of the month. So we keep working at it.
Very good. Very good. So are you actually physically going out and driving around and looking at houses and walking through them right now?
Only the ones where we have made a verbal agreement, where they look like they're flexible, and we make it contingent on the inspection. And if the inspection shows that there's not more damage than what we anticipated, then we go through with it. But I don't spend my time driving around or looking at a place if I'm not sure they're going to accept an offer. I just want to say, yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else? Is anyone else doing stuff? Thanks, Reinhardt. Appreciate that. Yo,
Sure.
I know Rick we're talking all the time, man. Rick, what do you have going, man? Talk about what are you doing to keep things moving during this lockdown?
We got a nice little system rolling where we got one team member that 2 team members is doing nothing but phone calling, cold calling, some of the stuff we went over the other day with Real Flow, getting the leads in. As we're getting the leads in, we got it's 2 guys that we rely on that refuse to stop moving around. So we kind of leverage their boots on the street. So we just we got one appointment scheduled, is scheduling with them to go out and look at the properties, and then they give us back offers based on the buyers that we're working with. And, and then we're getting it back through, and Patrice is processing them, and we're closing them. So, we've been able to, we're not physically going out looking at properties. We closed about 8 deals in the last 45 days. And I think maybe one I did go out and see. It was earlier before the lockdown. But about 7 of them was all virtual. So that's working pretty good, little system.
Awesome, Rick. Yeah, I know you're doing a lot of action out there, man. I know we were talking about some deals, and I promised you some data today, and I forgot it was the RIA day. And I was like, so I told Patrice, tomorrow you're going to get it. Today I was getting ready for this after I hung up with you. All right. So who else we have here? Let me mute someone here. Who else? Someone else is pretty loud out there. I don't know who it is. All right, guys. So what we'll do is we're going to jump in. I'm going to do it. Patrice, you can mute everybody. That'd be cool, because I got someone with a lot of feedback. You get him? I don't know who it was there. Javier, it looks like. Javier?
Yeah,
Javier?
it looks like Javier.
Javier could turn off sound, or can we get Javier's sound off? Oh, you're a rock star. Thank you. That worked out very well. Thanks. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to try to be all techie. Did it work? I think so. If I still see myself in here or not.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. So you'll have to give me a little bit of feedback. It's like I'm flying blind at this point. Okay, so right here, what I'm going to talk about tonight, you're going to love my writing here because I write so darn well, is the home method. The home method of actually us trying to flip some houses from home. And I am one of those weirdos that truly have locked myself down. And I've almost made a game out of this to see how I can literally survive without going out and looking at houses, doing a bunch of deals. And I really am not going anywhere. I'm staying right here in my house for probably about a month or 6 weeks or however long it's been right now. Ordering groceries in. Once in a while, I think at Easter was the last time I actually took the car out. I actually took the car out and just we drove and did our own little sunrise service type thing. And that was it, but didn't get out of the car. So really, I'm the true guy staying here, and we are still closing deals. We're still finding them, doing everything as normal. And literally, you can really focus a lot more from home. And I never could believe that because I'm 23 years in the business now, I believe. And I literally probably put about 30,000 miles a year on a car. I drive like nonstop. And now, of course, the gas prices are down to 90 cents a gallon or whatever. Of course, I'm not driving. But when they were $4 a gallon, I was driving all over the place. But at any rate, I found myself now being able to focus more and going from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting and analyzing deals and analyzing houses and actually getting more done. And that's what I'm going to share with you a little bit. So starting here with the home method, the H is for the house. You got to find the house. Now, of course, we could talk about commercial properties or anything else on here today, but I'm Rob the house guy, not the Rob the everything guy. And when I say this, you got to find the houses, and you can find plenty of houses right here on these little computers. There is no reason that you can't. And we were talking, Larick and I'm going to share a story. I just had him on. I know he's doing stuff from home because the other night he called. And as you all know, that I do a lot of stuff with RealFlow. I host their podcast and so forth. And there's a lot of different softwares out there. I happen to use RealFlow. I've liked RealFlow for a long time. I started doing some more stuff with them, and they're pretty simple since I'm not a real techie guy to work with on things. Thank you. So Larick and I are talking about RealFlow, digging through there. And I'll put a link in there in a minute. When I jump off my screen share, I'll put a link in the Zoom chat box to give you guys a free 30-day trial of it. And Larick was asking me, hey, Rob, how do we find houses on RealFlow here? And we dug in and we looked in a certain zip code that he was looking in. This was the other night right before he jumped on one of his Zoom parties he was doing. And we started looking through it and found zip codes. And we looked for not only, we looked in a certain zip right there. Then we started looking, like you've all heard me say this before, we started stacking the list up a little bit. Absentee. Do not make fun of my spelling because I'm the house guy, not the spelling major here. So we look at a zip, we look for absentee owner, which an absentee owner just means that they live somewhere other than the property that we're looking up. So if there's a house at 123 Kinsman, then they live over on 456 Elm Street, then obviously that's probably a rental property. So not only do we look for that, because that's going to pull, if you pull a few zip codes, especially in one certain area, that's not just going to pull, if you put absentee owners, you're going to pull literally thousands and thousands and thousands of landlords. So then you stack that and you put, show me the out-of-state ones. So show me these out-of-state landlords. So not only do they have a house here in Cleveland and they don't live there, they live out of state. So now you're looking for the people that truly are really removed from the property. And that might bring the thing down from like 7,000 people. That might bring it down to 4,500 people. Then you're going to do it again. Show me the ones that paid cash. They own it free and clear. Cash, and then there's also a free and clear button. Now this is even going to bring it down more. That could take someone from 4,500 down to maybe 2,000. And if you really want to hone in again, you can find the vacant properties. So by taking all of this stuff right here and compiling it, you're going to find the most motivated people ever. These are the folks that literally, they don't even know it, but they're the ones that are most likely to want to do a deal with you in some level. They're either probably going to want to buy more properties from you because they're very happy with the properties they have here in the Cleveland market, or they want to get rid of the properties because they're burned down on them and they have poor management in place. Either way, anything you want to look at, these are going to be very motivated folks that you probably want to get to know. All of that can be found without ever leaving the computer. You can sit right here at your desk and get all of that data right there. So now once we find these people, we're going to dig all these people out, and you're going to look, and you're not only going to see where they live, you're going to get their names. If you don't get their name, you have your name, and if they don't have a name, it's going to have an LLC on there. So if there's an LLC, you're going to look that up on Secretary of State. You're going to look up the Secretary of State. Now you're going to find a few of these companies might be out-of-state companies, and they're not going to be an Ohio company, Ohio LLC, but most of them are going to be Ohio LLC. So if you find like the Cleveland Rental Company, and you look them up on Ohio Secretary of State Business Search, you're going to see who probably owns that. So that's one way of finding it. The second way is when you're looking at that tax mailing address, you can skip trace that. So it's all about skip trace. So you look up the person, you look up the LLC, you skip trace them. Now what skip tracing means is, how can you find that individual? Now this is really where the money is made. Think of this. Think if there's someone out there named Joe Landlord, and Joe Landlord has a $10,000 check for you. Joe Landlord has this check. It's written out to your name. It's written out to you. And all you have to do is find Joe Landlord to get that money. How motivated are you to find Joe Landlord at that point? Probably pretty motivated. You're probably super excited to find this guy, to go out there and see, how can I get a hold of him? Well, through skip tracing. Now I happen to use Truth Finder. That's just one I use. There's IDI, there's Truth Finder, there's a gazillion of them out there. Just look up anything skip traced. If you're an attorney or have access to an attorney, you can use LexisNexis. There's a lot of places that you can find data on people. By finding this data, you're going to find on a skip trace, you're going to find cell numbers, possible ones. They're going to give you a multitude of them, not just one. They're going to give you a bunch of cell numbers. Email, mailing address, and this is where it's great. Social media. And when you start looking them up and you see all of this, the social media is usually the easiest way to get in touch with somebody. Because once you start skip tracing and you look, hey, they live in California, they have a property in Cleveland, and that person, when you actually look them up, it will show like businesses owned. It may mention their business on there. It'll show on there that, you know, they have a property in Cleveland, one in California, maybe a second one in Parma. You'll start getting the feeling like, yeah, you found the right person. So you can do one of a few things. You can take all those telephone numbers and call them all. And if you do that, then you're going to get a lot of wrong numbers, but you might find the right one. You can also go through and you can text everybody and say, hey, you know, my name's Rob. I noticed you had a house in Cleveland. Would you be interested in selling it? That's a way to do it. Emails, you can hit them all on email. You're getting the picture. But here's the way I did it the other day when Larick and I were out there going through this stuff. We jumped on Facebook, found the individual in Facebook, which actually invited him to this meeting. So he might actually be in this meeting at this point. I don't know. But we found the individual on Facebook and messaged him. And I just simply said, hey, my name is Rob. I'm in the Cleveland area. I see you have a property over in this zip code. I own properties over there too. I'm always looking to buy new stuff or maybe sell something. But either way, we should know each other. I'd love to connect with you. Within 10 minutes, I got a connection back. From that connection, saying, hey, Rob, yes, we own several properties in the Cleveland market. Would love to connect. Boom, friend request, friend accept. We're buddies on Facebook now. who knows where it's going to go, but I'm just telling you that now I'm connected with someone that, do you think maybe next time that individual has a problem with their property in Cleveland, they might reach out to me and say, hey, Rob, I need a furnace. Do you know anyone over there? Or I'm thinking about selling that property. You said you own stuff there. That's the exciting part. And I'll talk to you at the end of this about some goals and some accountability, and you get all your questions ready as well and everything. But I'll show you how that can just make you a ton of money if that's all you did from home. So I'm going to go to this next page here on the home. Let me write this, HOME. So we have H is for house, and then O is going to be the opportunity. You have to see where there's an opportunity in the property. And right now, we are going to get tons of opportunities, tons, because where everyone else is worried about wholesaling and they're worried about the real estate market and being a landlord and buying and selling, honestly, it's got to be a pretty scary time. If you're not in the game yet, and you've always thought about getting in the game, you're probably looking at this like, well, geez, all the hard money lenders are going away. It's getting tougher to get involved. I don't know if I can do this anymore. Or maybe you're already a landlord, and you're a landlord and you're thinking everything's great. You have a dozen units, and now this month nobody's paying. So you're getting a little nervous about this. But I can tell you as a wholesaler, things are great, because look, as this opportunity, if you were to buy a house for $15K and assign it for $5K for a total of $20,000 to your buyer, we're just doing just a normal East Side inner city rental, nothing fancy here. You made $5,000. Well, what if the whole market falls apart? What if now these landlords are not wanting to buy these houses, they're wanting out of them? So now this house is only $5,000. Well, guess what? You add an assignment, assignment of $5,000 equals $10,000. So yes, it's cheaper for the end buyer and the seller's getting less money, but who is making the same amount either way? You're making $5,000 either way. So you're on a sliding scale. It doesn't matter what happens to this real estate market. You can always get in there and wholesale and make the same amount. Now, finding the opportunity really is just about finding the pain. You got to find the pain point for your sellers, or because there are some sellers out there that may have gotten into the real estate game and they don't have the holding power. They don't have the money to stay involved for the long haul. They might have bought these things and financed the heck out of them. They could have a private money loan, IRA loan. They might have put 10% down and just got conventional financing at one time or whatnot, but they may have low cash reserves. So now when people aren't paying them and they can't pay their mortgage, and maybe they're living in, I don't know, Utah or California or wherever they might be, and their work is even spotty, and they're having a hard time with their own bills right now, there's a huge opportunity for us to come in there as investors and save the day. You see, they might not care so much about losing money right now. Their immediate need is not going to be, well, I paid $50,000 for it. I owe $30,000 on it. There's no way I can take a $20,000 loss. That's not their pain. Their pain is that the bank is about to give them a default notice on their mortgage, and they're going to start getting 30-day lates on their credit, which is going to drop their score, stop them from refinancing their house or moving or getting credit cards or whatever it is. So their opportunity is in getting their payments made. So as investors, we can step in there and just take payments over a lot of times. So that's the kind of things you're looking for, is what is the real opportunity there that lies. It's not always about the price. A lot of times it's just about fixing the situation. Now, for every opportunity that you have like that, where there's someone that just has to get out, they can't make their payments, the tenants aren't paying, they're in the middle of a rehab. Heck, they might be a wholesaler that has it locked up and now they can't sell it because there's no private money lenders that are lending, especially letting people take out big fat assignment fees in the middle of it. So whatever it is, for all of those, there's also opportunities for people that all want to get into the game. For as many hardship calls as I get are people that want out and they're just scared to death saying, I got to get out of this real estate market. I got to do other things right now. I have to worry about my family first. For as many of those as there are, there's that many more coming in and asking, Rob, what do you have for sale? What are you selling right now, man? I can't buy enough. I want out of the stock market. I pulled out of the stock market early before it started crashing. So I've got liquid money. You have all these people out there now that might be out of work. They're watching all this stuff on late night TV about getting into real estate or watching HGTV. Heck, they might be on this call today and they might have $50, $100, $200,000 in their 401k that they could not access before, but now they can access it. Now the rules are changing a little bit so they can borrow from it and take it and getting it quicker. So all of those people that might have $50, $100, $200,000 to deploy in the place, you can take those folks on and sell to them, use them as private money, bring them into the game. It's just you have to look at where the opportunities are and put yourself in the middle as the wholesaler. Now, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of the legalities of wholesaling right now. So many people will get paralysis of analysis and they're going to find a million ways to shoot it down and say, wholesaling's illegal, you can't do this. Well, the state of Ohio said no signing contracts, or I'm an agent, I can't do it. That's fine. All that's correct. But let me say this. It's not about can you buy low and sell high. It's about how you're structuring the deal, and it's about your intent and your ability to close the transaction. If you have the intent and you have the ability, you're fine. So don't get caught up in that. Get caught up in looking for the house, looking for the opportunity, and next, looking for the money. Now, this is getting tougher to find the money, if you will, the money in these deals. It used to be very simple. We had more than enough hard money lenders going around lending money to just about anyone that has a deal put together. A lot of that's drying up. Now the money is in the hands of the real buyers, the people that are really closing the deals. So you need to find the people that are really closing deals and really have cash. So how do you find those? Go back. Do you remember back on the last page what I was talking about here? How we're skip tracing? How about all of these folks right here? If you have a house, let's say, in this zip code right here, let's just say we picked 44109. Let's pick Old Brooklyn over there because there's some deals in that area, and it's a super, super desirable area there. So all these people, when you're picking out like absentee owners, you don't have to, you can just put zip, and then you can put absentee owner and out of state, and then the cash free and clear, you can forget the vacant part. Don't worry about that. But all these houses that pop up, guess what? You know, these are all people that wrote a check to buy that house, that they don't have a hard money loan on it. They actually paid cash. You know what else you know? You know that they're already buying in that zip code. They're already comfortable buying in that zip code. So if you are going to reach out to somebody that might want to buy something in that zip code and had cash in a down economy, you think maybe you'd want to reach out to them and reverse engineer all of this? So it's really, you're connecting the dots. On this side, you're finding all the people that own properties over here and talking to them. On this side, you're talking to all the people that own those properties and now seeing if they want to buy the one that you locked in contract over here, and just connecting the dots and putting yourself in the middle. You're just doing what most people are unwilling to do. That's what's going to make you money in this economy. So the money right there. Right now, hard money lenders, unfortunately, from what I'm talking to, most of them are not taking a lot of risk on new people. They have their built-in clientele base, people they've already dealt with, people that they already know can get in and out of deals. And they're putting a lot of the money back out with them. Now, it's not because there's no money in the private sector with IRA money or 401k money that's going through, you know, all the self-directed custodians out there and all the hard money brokers. That's not the problem. As much as the problem is the people that already had the money out, them getting refinanced to put that money back into play for them to broker that money out again. That's where the real money is. It's, don't kid yourself in thinking it's fear that people are afraid to be buying right now. It's not about that as much as it's people are afraid, not afraid, they just don't have the liquidity because their money's already out. But I know that a lot of these custodians are sitting flush with tons and tons of people that have done deals in the past, paid cash, lent money, done everything, and all that money's sitting back in the IRA just waiting to be deployed again right now. They can't deploy in the stock market. I guess they could, even though the market's down, but I don't know how many people are talking about buying cruise line stocks and airline stocks and hotel stocks, and they're all going to bounce back. I'm not a stock market guy. I'm a house guy. I can't imagine how the cruise line is going to bounce back quick, but hey, what do I know? I'm not Warren Buffett, but I just can't imagine booking a cruise anytime soon. But real estate is a sure bet. Even if these houses, the opportunities, if you go buy a house for $20,000 and you put a Section 8 tenant in there, that even if the house is worth nothing, if it's worth nothing, it's still throwing you a government check every month. If the house is worth nothing. So I don't think any of these people that have lost all their money in the stock market, even if their stock's worth nothing, that it's still paying them out every month. So that's the very attractive part for bringing money into the real estate market. And it's not real hard to do to show people the rates of return on their money. So I'm going to show you real quick how to analyze stuff on a capitalization rate or an ROI. I mean, a lot of you might know this already, but I'm just going to drop it out here. So if people are trying to get, let's just say 10% of the money. 10% of the money is pretty freaking good right now, especially where the market is. And if you're buying CDs or anything else, there's really no rate of return on the money. I mean, I think yesterday it went down for the first time in history that oil was at a negative per a barrel. They were paying people $35 a barrel to take it or something. Again, I don't know anything about it, but it doesn't seem like a great situation. So now let's look at a piece of real estate. You have a double. You have a double. All right, let's just call it, it's in Cleveland. And it brings in 500 up and 500 down. You always like how we always have the house that's worth $100,000 and all the rents are always $500. That's probably very light for Cleveland, but let's just leave it there for right now. So you have 500 up and 500 down, which is going to be $1,000 a month. The first thing you got to do is take everything into an annual basis here. That's going to be $12,000 a year gross income. So $12,000 a year gross income is what that brings in. So what's it cost to run that property? Now, when you're factoring in what it costs to run a property, you do not calculate principal and interest payments. Do not calculate that. What you do calculate, you calculate management, taxes, property taxes that is, insurance, maintenance, CapEx, if you put some money aside for your roof and your bigger projects in there, and so forth. You know, you have your vacancy rate. Now you can sit and try to figure all that stuff out, but I'm just going to give you a formula. 50%. All this takes 50% of your gross. So what this leaves you is $6,000 net operating income. So $6,000 net operating income is what you're left with on a $12,000 a year gross income property. So if somebody wanted to make 10% on their money, how much could they pay for this property in theory? The answer is going to be 60 grand. They could pay $60,000, pays them $6,000 a year. But here's the thing, what if they wanted to make, that's a 10% ROI. If they wanted to make a 20% ROI, they could pay $30,000. Now the way I got that is, you take your little number your little number and divide it into the big. So that's it. So you're going to take the little number, divide the big number, and that's going to give you your rate of return. So $30,000 for 20% ROI is where you're going to be on there. So now your goal as a wholesaler, if you can find a property that's producing $1,000 a month, and let's say someone wants to get a 10% rate of return on their money, it's a nice property, it's not beat up, it takes a nice picture, it has lease agreements in place, it's taken care of, it's not junk. Someone would do this for 10%. If you could sell it off at $60,000, what if you could buy it at $40,000? If you could buy it at 40 and sell for 60, you have a 20,000 assignment. If you could buy it at 50, at 10. It's all negotiation, but you see, what you're doing is you're buying it at a really high rate of return, and then you're bringing it down to just a lower rate of return for the person. But how do you do this? Who's a car person out there? Who's into all the car stuff? If you're going to buy a new car, you work at a car dealership, and someone trades in their old car, what's the first thing they do? They pull a Carfax. The more records and the more details you know about an automobile, the higher price it can command, provided the records are all good. It hasn't been wrecked or a lemon law car or something of that nature. So with that, it's the same thing with your properties. With your properties, you want to have service records. Can you show the tenant's application to show that they're gainfully employed, they're decent human beings, no criminal records, whatever it is? Can you show their lease agreements? Can you show proof of checks that they're paying or proof of payment of somehow? Not rent receipts, because anyone can buy a rent receipt books at OfficeMax. We're looking for real documentation that people are really paying. So the cleaner the property you can show, great pictures, furnace, water tank, electrical panel, front of the house, the back of the house, the kitchens, the baths, make it look nice, show it looks good, show it's paying, show there's good records. That's how you get more money, because people that are buying from 2,000 miles away, a confused mind will say no. If they look like, well, are these people going to pay or are they not going to pay? Well, I'm not real sure. Is that furnace going to blow up? Is it not going to blow up? The more details you can give people, the better. Get a home inspection on the property. Take the tenants, see if you can get Section 8. Put Section 8 tenants in there. That's the sort of stuff that you want to put together. I see something here. What about the estoppel agreement? I bet I'll answer that in a little bit. So put all the stuff together, all the best details you can on this property, and it's going to make it the most desirable. And this is what you're looking for. The out of state landlord, here's what they normally have. They have non-performing tenant in there. They have deferred maintenance. They have poor picks, unavailable to show the property, to sell. They have violations. They have all the problems. So when you have a property like this, I can't tell you how many out-of-state people that I talk to, and the people that I'm speaking with, they tell me, well, the person upstairs moved out, or the person's house, I don't know how to get in, just break in, I don't have a key to the house. You know, that's any of us that are like unwanted landlords. You start getting this point that it's not tip-top shape, because it's hard to keep it up in the tip-top shape. But it's no different than if you were taking your car and you're going to sell it in your front yard, and the tires are half deflated, there's cigarette ashes in the floor, there's pop cans in the back seat, the windows are dirty, it smells inside, you know, you didn't clean the engine compartment up, it just looks beat up. You're not going to get the money without detailing. That's why the first thing, you can learn a lot from a car dealership. The first thing they do is, boom, they detail the heck out of the car. Tearing the leather, They send someone in and get it sewn up and make it look perfect in there. Engine compartment looks like you could eat off of it. Looks amazing. Carfax taped in the window. Everything is all put together. So with everything all put together like that, there's no more confused mind. You're already emotionally involved in this car. You're already emotionally involved in a property, but now you have justification that it really is a good deal because all the details are showing you that this thing is put together correctly. So that's the out-of-state landlord, what they're giving you. What you're selling to your people is the opposite of everything. You have lease agreements. You have it cleaned up. You have service records for furnace to show that's been inspected the furnaces. You have a home inspection. You're available to show it. One of the things I do, not so much during the COVID-19, but what I've always used to do, bring money to the people to get in the house. Give them a 20 spot to go in. And it's like training a cat or a dog or something. My cat, I've got 2 dogs and a cat. We used to always give our dogs treats right before bed. Well, now, my kitty, which is around here somewhere, my house panther is laying over there, got in the habit, I was like, well, let's get the kitty some treats too. So up on the fireplace mantle, every night I take a couple of kitty treats and put them out. So trained, knows when I'm getting ready to go to bed, I'm going to feed the fish and getting ready to go to bed, runs up there, sits on the mantle and meows and just waits. Same thing with tenants. You can't expect a tenant just to want to let you traipse through their house and irritate the heck out of them all the time while you're trying to sell it and give them an unknown landlord. However, you show up the first time, you say, hey, look, I'm going to be selling this house. Your lease agreement's golden. We have you locked in. It's good for a year. It's not going to get raised. You're cool. However, I do need to show it. But look, here, I brought you $20. I brought you a pizza gift card, whatever it is. When I bug you, I'll make sure I'm bringing gifts. I come bearing gifts. So you mind if Tuesday night at 6 I come over, I'm going to bring in our $20. I appreciate you letting me through. It's going to take 5 minutes. You make $20 in 5 minutes. Drug dealers will make that kind of money. Well, guess what? You'll get a point that tends to call and say, hey man, you got to show my house anymore this week because I got some bills due on Friday. I'd like to show it a couple more times if you could. I'm telling you, it works. And if you can make $10,000, what's it going to cost you? $200 to get 10 people through there? Okay. So that's what you're getting all the details in here, putting all the details together that you're selling on that. And now finally, the E for home is execute all this stuff. You have to execute it. To hear this and to listen to me tonight is not going to help you if you don't take action. You always hear me say that nothing works unless you do. Well, that's the truth. Nothing works unless you do. You have to do this. So let me show you how this would work. Just for 1 second. And this is not crazy. This is not something that will not work for you. Follow what I'm telling you. Because everybody always tells me, they're like, I want to quit my job. I want to do real estate because it's so much easier. It's not easier. It's different. It's just different. It's not that this is some easy business that like nobody has to, work in. But imagine if you worked in this like you work in your job. There's another real estate investor out here, and he might actually be on the call, so I shouldn't say too much. A very good friend of mine. I've been friends with him for years. And his wife works in corporate America. And she grinds out, makes a lot of money, but she works. I mean, she gets in the morning, she pounds the phone, she's on the computer, doesn't take lunch breaks. She is on it. Now, high 6-figure earner, but works hard. And we've always said to each other when we're golfing or something, it's like, could you imagine if we worked as hard as she did at our businesses, how many houses we would do a year, how much more we could do? And that's the truth. And when I say golfing, I golf like once a year at a golf outing that is a lot of work to even put on. But the execution, so let me show you this. So let's pretend that you used RealFlow and you jumped on. I'm going to make sure I get you a link here before I hop off. That you used it and you went on and you identified, 1,000 people that lived out of state that had houses here in the Cleveland market. Not hard to do. So every day you reached out to 10 people. 10 people. You have to reach out to them. You find them on SkipTrace. This is probably going to take you to identify 10 people on SkipTrace and reach out to them on Facebook or Text messages, email, all the above. Direct mail, you can actually physically mail them a postcard. Real you can do that right from the click of a button there. For all that, if you reach out to 10 people a day and you were just ultra cool, not salesy, nothing weird, just said, hey, my name's Rob. I see you have property in Parma. I own property in Parma. We should be friends. I'd like to buy some more stuff. Maybe you want to sell me your house. Maybe you want to buy one from me. Either way, we should know each other. I notice you live in California. If you ever have any problems with a tenant or a repair or something, give me a call. I'm involved in the Greater Cleveland REIA. I have a lot of connections I can hook you up with. Talk to you soon. Here's my number. Feel free to shoot me a text. Whatever it is. Something very cool. Do not send a weird picture of your business card or something or get all salesy on them. If you do this 10 times a day, and we're going to do this 5 days a week, that's going to be 50 people a week times 4 weeks in a month. That's going to be 200 people a month times 12 months a year is going to be 2,400 out-of-state owners that you've made contact with, that you've cultivated, that you've started developing a relationship with. 2,400 investors that you worked for a year. You worked for a year. Could you imagine how connected you would be being that connected? What's great about REIA is our connections with one another, how we all interact, and we're friends, and we do deals together, and we try to, help one another out, and we have this great network. Imagine if you could add that many people into your network. Imagine how would it be out of those 2,400 people is if you had them, you can use send out cards. That's another one you can put out there. I don't send out cards. It is actually a multi-level marketing tool, and I'm in it, and I don't sell it. I guess I could make money, but I signed up under a guy named Dennis Neerman. He's an attorney. He's a great guy. If you reach out to me, I'll give you his number. Sign up under him. But what's cool about that, that's an autoresponder. So as you get a hold of these people, if you open conversation and you get their home address or you even have their home address, if it's the correct one, the mailing address, and let's just say you set them up to send them a card at Christmas, at Easter, at the 4th of July or whatever, and it's just something cool saying, hey, it's your friend Rob. I'm here from Cleveland. And you put a picture, and you can actually upload pictures, put a picture of their house in there. Hey, I was driving by your house. Thought you'd like to see this. They're going to think you're creepy, but you're either going to get a deal or a restraining order. Either way, you're going to get something from them. So you have to execute this. So imagine if you executed on 2,400 people. You just took an hour or two a day for the next year and did that. And everything I'm showing you, you're not leaving your house. You can stay home. You have time for Netflix. You can order your groceries in like I do and spray them with Lysol and look like a freak and have all the neighbors laugh at you. So anyhow, hope that helped you. I'm going to open up to some questions here. Now I'm going to go turn on microphones and stuff and stop sharing my screen. And I'll try to get you guys some links as I'm answering questions here. Okay, does anyone have any questions, or do I have anyone, Patrice or someone that, or Tony, someone that wants to moderate this and look at any of these questions? There's a bunch of them here.
Okay, we do have a few questions.
All right, thanks. What do we got?
The first one came in from Jedi. It was, you touched on private money, and he wanted to know how you are connected with private money lenders to invest in properties.
Well, like I said too, if you're brand new and you haven't borrowed private money before, now's probably not the time. Probably now is the time to align yourself with someone that either has money or connections with private money, because it's really tough to get the new guys in the loop right now with these hard money brokers. I just have years and years of connections with them. We do have someone here. We had Freeland. They're out now. They're using their money for their own acquisitions. We have we still have Neil Wolf over at NEO Financial. He's on here. Well, Markowitz, he's on our calls, but they're still there. So the right deal, there's always money for. You can always bring it to me or someone else in the group that's doing deals, and we can dig around and find some money for you if you had to have it. But it's got to be a pretty good deal right now, and you have to have some experience, and they're not taking a lot of chances on the new folks, from what I understand.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Rob. All right, our next question is coming from Curtis. I'm sorry, from Chris. It is talking about 401k. What are the new rules and how are they different to access money easier? Now, it was kind of answered by one of our members here, by Rich. So I just wanted to present it to you to see if there's anything that you'd like to share in reference to it.
Do we have anyone on there? Do we have an IRA guy on here? Do we have iPlan or anyone on here tonight?
Rich, did you want to expand?
It's just my understanding that with the CARE Act, they allowed, because of hardship or people are kind of freaking out that their 401s are disappearing because the stock market's in bad shape, that they're allowing up to $100,000 withdrawal. I think it's up to $100,000 withdrawal without penalty. You have to pay income taxes and stuff on that, but without penalty. So if you had to have access to it, you can move it out to cash and use it elsewise. Not a good idea investment-wise necessarily, but it's an option.
Yeah, which is actually kind of ironic to me. If the stock market is having a hard time, allowing people to pull money out at a time like this doesn't seem to be a real prudent move to keep the market going. But regardless, yeah, but there's be a lot of people right now that can pull, especially people that are out of work right now. Regardless, a lot of people that have worked in corporate America and they might have a couple $100,000 sitting there, and now they're not working. Yes, they're drawing unemployment. Yes, they're probably getting their government checks in of however much they're sending out at this point in time. But that money can supplement versus that money just sitting there in the market. If you can get them to take $50,000-$80,000 and go and buy maybe a double or something that's Section 8 that's more guaranteed, or be one of your private backers on something to flip, just make sure you know what you're doing if you're getting into it, because the market's moving around a lot right now, and just make sure that you're not overpaying for stuff. Okay, next. I did put a question in. I put the link in there too for RealFlow, that anyone that wants RealFlow, I threw in there. Right now they have it at a 15-day trial. They changed their parameters because their payment portal and so forth. I spoke to them today. 30-day trial they're supposed to be going back to for me on that. And also that on there, there's different levels from anywhere from $97 a month, I think, to like the $250. The $250, the higher one that you get the free trial on, is the one that has the data in there that you can actually pull the leads from. But you don't have to pay for me on a 30-day trial, and you can cancel if you don't like it, but I think you're going to like it. Next question.
The next one, you kind of talked about the, giving gifts and incentives to tenants to allow the property to be seen. There was a question from Brandon about the estoppel agreement. Did you want to add anything further?
Right now, I'm personally not even trying to get through houses right now. I'm not pushing that to anybody because I believe there's some liability involved with that. If you have someone that goes on to get COVID wherever, and then all of a sudden you're the landlord that pushed your way through the house, you don't want to be drug into that. It's all personal. It's just your personal comfort zone at this point in time. But money goes a long ways. Just paying people to go through the house, especially if you have a really smoking deal, you need to get them through there. If you have a landlord from California, the person's in default, they're not answering, they're not paying, you can try to send someone by there and leave a note on the door and just say, hey, look, your landlord's looking to sell the house. I know you're going through some tough times. I can forget about the back rent and work with you. I would just like to talk to you real quick. Give me a call. They'll call you. Most likely they'll call you. And that's when you say, hey, I'd like to run someone through there or something. Can I throw you $100 just to walk through and get some pictures of the house? I need to make sure it's a good buying decision for me. But I'll pay $100 whether I buy it or not. That'd be my key to get in. And it might be worth it for you. Might not, just depends. You gotta look at how sexy the deal is for you. All right.
Right. Let's see. Pretty much everyone is asking about the link for the replay. That has been answered. It'll be on the RIA website as well as the core Facebook group. Any additional information you want to provide on that, Rob?
No, that's the we have the Facebook group. Make sure you go on there. I know that some of you guys are pretty active on there and putting some houses on, trying to sell them, and great place. I mean, we're really getting a lot of people signing up for it. I think we have 150, 160 members now. I'm not real sure. But if you have houses for sale, put them on there for sale. I wouldn't put the full address. I'd put a picture. I'd put some contact information, network, build stuff. That's open to people, members and non-members. If you are a member, then you have a closed group here that you can get on. You can actually go on the RIA website And the real website is has a private back-end group where we can all share deals, and that's true off-market stuff. And then there's always some information on the site about joining as well. A lot of the stuff, I'll put this out here, not a big sales pitch here, but a lot of the stuff I talked about today, I'm doing a 30-day challenge where people are looking over my shoulder for 30 days, showing everyone what to do to find off-market deals. The link's there if you'd like to join. I'd love to have you. It's $100, but that's my big sales pitch for the night. Don't worry about it too much, but it is there if you want to do it. Other than that, there's no reason why any of us should not be doing business right now. There's no reason to sit home and just watch Netflix and cry in our Wheaties. This is a time that there's going to be such a transfer of wealth. There's going to be so many deals. So many of these out-of-state guys, if they have poor management in place, they didn't have staying power, they're going to be selling their properties. They're going to be offering amazing terms on their properties. They're not, if you're the one that reaches out to them, you'll get the deal. You have a network of people on these Tuesday meetings that you can sell these deals, so you can put them on Facebook. It's really just connecting the dots to make the money. You can make money during this downtime. We're very blessed that we're in this business and we can still be doing this. I'd hate to own a bar or restaurant right now, that's for sure. Patrice, we all wrapped up. We have anyone else? Anyone else have any questions?
We have a couple more. One is this is from Ishmael. Where do we get the list for investors that just purchased for cash? Is that available via skip tracing also?
That is that's on RealFlow. RealFlow is a paid service. I'm giving you a link. I'm an affiliate of theirs, but I don't see checks from them, so I guess I'm not really a paid affiliate. I just pass them out because I like them and I believe in them. But you can go on there and sign up for their advanced one. I think it's the $200 a month or something like that. But you can cancel in 30 days. You don't have to keep it, so it's not really costing you any money. They're not charging your card or anything. Just remember to cancel if you don't want it. But I think you'd like it. But in there, you can go in and look, and well, Rick will tell you, it's pretty rock star, isn't it? It works pretty well. I mean, it's like we went in there, and you'll be blown away. You're just looking like there's so many people that live somewhere else and have properties here. Just so many, it's insane. So you can get them on there, and you can buy lists as well. You can probably go to List Source or something like that and buy them. But I like to physically look through them myself and kind of, I would say, hunt with a bow and arrow instead of a shotgun. I like to really snipe in and look at the deals that make the most sense.
All right. We have a couple more minutes. Do you want to answer a couple more questions?
Yeah. I'm reading the one right.
Go ahead.
I'm reading one right now. I see it. Chris, my recorder will not record an affidavit memorandum. How else can I protect the wholesale deal in Ashtabula? Do we have an attorney on here? Do we have Angelo or Streeter or Ricky or anyone? No, they're not on here right now. Man, all right. A recorder's job is not to pick and choose what they do and do not record. The recorder's job is to record. However, if it's not done correctly and it's not notarized, then at that point in time, they don't have to record. It has to be a notarized copy to actually go in there. So it was notarized. I would reach out to David Streeter or Angelo Russo, and it was a notarized original. Reach out to Angelo, reach out to David Streeter, one of those two. You can get something recorded, I'm sure. I can't imagine why you can't. Okay, so that's it. Priest, you want to read me another one there?
Yep. The estoppel agreement, there's a follow-up. Does it work on wholesale deals?
Can you explain that a little bit better? Does what work on a wholesale deal?
Oh, the estoppel agreement.
Well, how does it work on it? Well, wholesale deal is just a deal. Anything's a deal. Wholesale just means you're buying below market value and selling at market value. So anything that's legit in any kind of deal, it's like asking for an investor-friendly title company. They're all investor-friendly if you're not committing fraud. They're all cool with you. It is 7 o'clock, so let's take one more question. I like to hold my promise and not keep people on too long. So hit me with one more.
All right. This one's from Eric. How to get around an owner who doesn't want to show a property or tell the tenant that they are selling their property?
Okay, very good question. You know how it's always saying, your mom told you not to lie. Now's the time you have to lie. It's kind of like if the Nazis are running through the village saying, are there any Jewish people? You're hiding in your attic. If you're hiding up there, you lie and say, oh, no, I have no idea where they are. However, this is the same time you're going to lie again. You're going to lie and you're going to say, you know what, I'm with the insurance company, I'm a home inspector, I said, take a look at this. The best thing I always like to do, it's like, you know what, your landlord asked me to come through and find out what's wrong with this house and see what really needs fixed. Do you want to show me around and talk about any problems you might be having? What a better way to hear about everything wrong with the house. There's not a thing they're going to do is tell you more than that. So I hate to tell you to lie, but don't go through and say you plan on buying the house. That's a bad idea.
Right.
Cool. All right. So we're at 7:01. We lied a little bit, but hope everyone got a lot out of tonight's meeting. Don't forget to, stay out. Thank you, Gary, for putting up the numbers for Streeter and Russo on there. I know I saw them on there earlier. They must have bounced out. Must have early morning court. But anyhow, thanks everyone for coming in. Next week, we don't have a topic picked yet, but tomorrow at our wrap-up meeting, we'll put something good together, I am sure. Enjoyed having everyone. Thanks for all your time out here. Hope to see everyone here next week. If you have any questions, feel free to either call the RIA hotline, reach out to us, email us. My number is here on the bottom of my screen. You can see me. You feel free to reach out, text me, call me. And remember this, nothing works unless you do. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.